Let's say tomorrow morning you wake up, not in your bed, not in your house. You open your eyes and you're lying on the ground somewhere in East Africa, 100,000 years ago. The air is cold, the grass is wet, the sun isn't up yet. You have everything you were born with, your brain, your body, your hands. You have everything that 300,000 years of evolution built into the human species. And you will almost certainly be dead within 72 hours. Not because ancient life was brutal, not because you're weak, but because of something far more unsettling. The body you're living in right now is not the body your ancestors had. And the gap between what you think you could do and what you actually could do is one of the most revealing stories in all of human science. Let's start the moment you wake up. The first thing you notice is the cold. Not the cold of an air-conditioned room. Real cold. Overnight temperatures in East Africa, even near the equator, regularly drop to 50 or 55 degrees Fahrenheit. You're on the ground. No sleeping bag, no insulation beneath you except grass. The ground conducts heat away from your body roughly 25 times faster than air. Within hours of lying on bare earth, a modern human begins losing core temperature at a dangerous rate. Your ancestors solved this without thinking. They slept close together, bodies pressed against bodies, sharing thermal output. They knew instinctively which side of a hill blocked the wind. They knew how to build a sleeping shelter from branches and leaves in under an hour that would hold warmth through the night. They had spent every night of their lives developing these skills, refining them, inheriting the knowledge of every generation before them. You wake up cold, stiff, and alone, and the sun isn't even up yet. Now you need water. A healthy adult human can survive approximately 3 days without water. But cognitive decline, the inability to think clearly, to make good decisions, to read an environment, begins within hours of mild dehydration. At just 2% dehydration, your reaction time slows, your spatial judgment degrades, your ability to assess risk deteriorates. This matters enormously because in an ancient landscape, bad decisions don't give you a second chance. Here's the problem. You don't know where the water is. This sounds obvious when you say it, but the implications are staggering. Your ancestors didn't just know where water was. They had inherited, memorized, and continuously updated a mental map of every water source within a 20-mile radius. Studies of modern hunter-gatherer groups show that individuals carry detailed spatial knowledge of their territory spanning hundreds of square miles. The seasonal springs, the dry riverbeds that run underground in the dry season but can be dug to find water. The species of tree whose roots always mean water within 3 feet of the surface. That knowledge took generations to accumulate. It was passed down orally, reinforced by daily movement through the landscape, tested and updated over a lifetime of observation. It wasn't written anywhere. It lived in people. You don't have it. You look out across the landscape and you see grass, trees, hills, and sky. Your ancestors looked at the same view and read it like a map. You start walking toward what looks like lower ground because water flows downhill. That's something, but you don't know if that low ground is a seasonal marsh that's currently dry, or a river system, or a salt flat that will make your dehydration worse if you drink from it. You don't know which animal trails lead to water and which lead to grazing areas. You don't know that the particular bend of that distant tree line almost always means a water source within 400 meters. By mid-morning, you're thirsty. By noon, you're making slightly worse decisions than you were at sunrise, and the day has barely started. Now you need to eat. The human body can survive weeks without food, so hunger isn't immediately lethal, but caloric expenditure is. A hunter-gatherer in active foraging mode burns somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500 calories per day. Walking on uneven terrain, carrying things, processing materials by hand, these are not casual activities. Your body is spending energy you don't have stored. In 2012, a research team led by anthropologist Herman Pontzer published a study in the journal PLOS ONE that upended everything scientists thought they knew about hunter-gatherer energy expenditure. Pontzer and his colleagues had expected to find that the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer populations on Earth, burned dramatically more calories per day than modern Westerners, given their physically demanding lifestyle.
They didn't. Total daily energy expenditure was roughly the same, but here's what made this finding extraordinary. The Hadza weren't burning fewer calories because they were doing less. They were burning fewer calories because their bodies were metabolically adapted, in ways that are still not fully understood, to extract maximum efficiency from available food and maintain a sustainable energy balance despite highly variable food availability. Their bodies were optimized, calibrated by a lifetime of exactly this kind of demand. Your body is calibrated for something else entirely, for sitting at a desk, for food that arrives already processed, for a caloric environment of almost unlimited abundance. When you put that body into an ancient landscape and ask it to forage, it doesn't just struggle. It struggles in ways that science is only beginning to measure. You spot some berries. You don't know if they're edible. You see roots near a dry stream bed. You don't know which ones are nutritious and which ones will make you violently ill. You know, in the abstract, that some berries are poisonous, but you have no idea which ones, and the ancient human heuristic for this? The accumulated plant knowledge of a lifetime, supplemented by community knowledge going back generations, lives nowhere in your memory. Your ancestors could identify at a glance hundreds of plant species. They knew which were edible raw, which had to be cooked to neutralize toxins, which were medicinal, which were seasonal, which were only safe in small quantities. This was not special knowledge reserved for experts. It was baseline literacy for every man, woman, and child in the group. The 3-year-olds knew more about plant identification than most modern adults. You pick the berries that look most like something you'd buy at a grocery store. You eat them carefully. You wait. Now the real problem arrives. You've been thinking of this as a survival challenge, a skills problem. But ancient human survival was never primarily about individual skill. It was about something modern people have largely dismantled, something so fundamental that its absence explains most of why you would fail within 72 hours. It was about the group. In 2011, anthropologist Kim Sterelny of the Australian National University published a detailed analysis of what he called the apprenticeship model of human learning. His argument was stark. The skills required to survive as an ancient human were so complex, so numerous, and so difficult to acquire that no individual human being could learn them within a single lifetime through independent trial and error. The knowledge had to be transmitted. It had to be taught. You didn't just need to know how to make a fire. You needed to know how to read the weather to decide when to make one and when not to. Because fire at the wrong moment draws predators or rivals. You didn't just need to know which plants were edible. You needed to know the specific combination of processing techniques, seasonality, and preparation methods that made the full range of available foods safe and nutritious. You didn't just need to know how to make a stone tool. You needed to know the specific types of stone available in your specific region, where to find them, how to test them before carrying them long distances, and the dozens of individual knapping techniques that turned a raw stone into a functional blade. None of this was instinct. All of it was learned. All of it was taught by people who had been taught by people who had been taught, for thousands of generations. And the teaching didn't happen in classrooms. It happened by doing. Children in hunter-gatherer groups begin actively participating in subsistence tasks by age 5 or 6. By their early teens, they have thousands of hours of direct, supervised, real-stakes experience. By adulthood, they have internalized a knowledge base that is staggeringly complex, built through a childhood devoted entirely to learning how to be alive. You had a different childhood. You learned things that are extraordinary and valuable and that would be incomprehensible to an ancient human. But none of those things are useful right now. You are standing alone in an ancient landscape with a modern brain full of modern knowledge, and the mismatch is almost total.